for the most part, we have young white males that are committing these mass shootings at a very large, high percentage. And I do think it's a gun problem. I do think that's part of the problem. So let me propose to you some solutions, and you can tell me whether you agree with it or not. I think the age should be 18 to 21. That's number one.
It's already 18 to 21.
Well, in some cases,
it's 18 for a rifle, 21 for a handgun.
I don't think you should be allowed to purchase a weapon legally at the age of 18. I think you should be at least 21 years old.
Okay.
I also think that I understand that shooting a gun and owning a gun is a right. I get that. I understand driving a car is a privilege, but why is it when we drive a car, they check your medical records, they check your eyesight, you have someone that has to teach you how to drive the car? Sure. I think we should have at least a 2-hour class at a minimum. Teach someone how to shoot a weapon, teach someone how to store the weapon, teach someone how to be safe with the weapon. I don't think that's asking a lot. Give me a 2-hour class.
So one, let me start off with, I don't agree with you on the that we should raise the age from 18 to 21. I think the right to bear arms is a constitutional right. It is a natural right that is confirmed by the Constitution, and it's part of what has, frankly, made this country as free as it is. And I think it's part of the American heritage that we have. It's a unique thing for this country that no other country has. And so, especially if we're asking 18-year-olds, and in some cases in our history as young as 16, to serve in our military and and carry a firearm in defense of our country.
What's the difference, though, for an 18-year-old that serves in the military and an 18-year-old that walks into a gun store?
I know what you're going to say.
What's the difference?
You're going to say it's the training, right?
Well, yeah, that's a big difference, don't you think?
And look, I'll tell you what. If you want, I'll agree with you on this. If we want to institute gun safety, firearm practice as part of the national curriculum, I'll agree with you on that.
Are you okay with us owning grenades and tanks and any type of machine weaponry? Obviously, some of that is illegal, but I mean, where do we?
It's actually easier to get a tank than it is get a gun.
Perhaps it is, but it's illegal. An armed tanker is illegal.
You can get a tank,
but certain tanks, obviously, and grenades are illegal. Why do you need an assault weapon to defend yourself?
Well, what's an assault weapon, right? I mean,
well, we can get into the weeds on that. we can get into the weeds on what an assault weapon is. But the same weapons that were used on October 1 here, the same weapons that were used, similar weapons, Columbine in Buffalo, the Texas, El Paso, Walmart shooting. It seems like these are the types of weapons that can shoot as many people as possible in a short period of time. Why does an American need that? Why do we need that to defend ourselves? I want you to have the right, Woodrow, to defend yourself and buy weapons, and I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with some of these weapons being sold. I do have a problem with that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not sure which part you want me to deconstruct first.
Either one you want to. That's your choice.
I mean, like, what do you believe is a reasonable restriction? Because ultimately, when I have these conversations about gun control, and one, I get it, like I don't expect everyone to be an expert on firearms, but often it's difficult to have this conversation because they don't really understand the intricacies about how firearms.
You know what I say to people like that? When someone says, Brian, you don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm not accusing you.
No. I'm not saying you are. But in general, when people want to get into the weeds with me on what an assault weapon is, here's my response to that. Okay. You probably know a lot more about guns than me. Fair enough. Let's start here. Do you agree with me, Woodrow, that there's way too much gun violence in this country?
I think
way too many innocent people are dying.
I think one innocent person dying is too much.
I agree with you. Yeah, but obviously, but would you agree with me? There's way too much gun violence in this country. There's a lot of gun violence in this country.
I think that violence is a problem, and I think attaching gun to it unnecessarily politicizes it.
So if somebody walks into a school and kills 30 innocent kids with an AR-15, is it politicizing it, talking about the weapon that was used?
Absolutely, it's politicizing it, because if you look at other countries, people are getting stabbed, people are getting...
Can you name me a situation in the United States of America where 30 or 40 people were killed by a knife in our lifetime?
No, not top of my head.
Because it hasn't happened. Because it hasn't happened. So I don't think that's a fair equivalent. I'm talking about guns that kill 20, 30 kids.
Okay.
So I don't think I'm politicizing it. I think I hope I want what you want, which is I don't want innocent people to die, including our kids. And it's a conversation I think that needs to be had. And you don't see, now you do this for a living. I mean, you're a political strategist. I see a lot of these Republicans that you have represented in their commercials that brag about their guns and say more guns make us safer. if we have 140 guns per 100 people in this country, if more guns made us safer, then we would be one of the safest countries in the world when it comes to gun control. So we
have lower violent crime than most places.
Okay, but I'm talking about gun violence right now. I'm not talking about violent crime in general.
Of course there's going to be more gun violence because there's more guns.
Okay, but then why do Republicans and some of your clients have said more guns make us safer? It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Because they do. Because it does make...
What do you mean they do? 140 guns per 100 people. You just admitted to me that we have more guns than almost any other country in the world.
But we have lower violent crime than most places.
Okay, but I'm talking about crime when it comes to guns. We're not talking about just in general violent crime.
Okay.
I'm talking about gun violence. I'm talking about people that die and there's a gun involved. When Republicans say more guns make us safer, that would mean we would be one of the safest countries in the world when it comes to gun violence. And by the way, it's the opposite. It's the opposite.
Okay. I mean, first of all, the largest cause of death in the 20th century was government. Okay, it was people who died when the communists took over China. It was people who died from the Holocaust. It was people who died from the various pogroms in Russia. I mean, we're talking like tens of millions of people here, and places where they have complete gun control, where no one is allowed to own a gun. The reason why we have a Second Amendment is to protect us from the government. That's why we have it.
Okay, I understand that, but still, we have more guns than almost any other country in the world, and we have more.
But you're looking at
gun violence than almost any other country in the world. If more guns made us safer,
yeah,
it just doesn't make sense.
And the UK has a lot more knife violence. Like I mean, that's
but how many mass shootings? How many mass knife killings are there in the?
There's
UK?
a lot of there's a lot of.
I don't know.
I don't know off the top of my head.
I can guarantee you it's nowhere near as many as the mass shootings and the gun violence that we have in the United States of America.
Look, if you look at per capita, it's probably...
Okay. What would you rather have? Somebody, God forbid, one of your kids in school, and by the way, God forbid, I don't want this to happen, but what would you rather have if you had to choose and a madman is in there and wants to kill as many innocent children as possible? Somebody with a knife or somebody with an AR-15?
You know, you're actually more likely to survive a gunshot than a stabbing.
So you think if somebody went into a school,
I don't want either to happen.
Obviously, we both agree on that.
Right.
You think if somebody went into a school with a knife, you think that would be more dangerous than somebody with thousands of rounds of ammunition or an AR-15?
I'm saying that in that situation, I would hope that our school is equipped with trained officers to prevent that from happening, and those trained officers should have firearms.
Okay, but that's a different topic, and we can talk about, by the way, in most schools, there are trained officers with firearms. Look at what happened in Uvalde. They were a bunch of cowards, and they didn't go in there, and they were all armed. So I'm not sure that's always the answer.
I wasn't happy with those individuals, who did that, but I'd rather, I think the majority of police officers, they don't do it for the money. They put their lives on the line every day.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah,
I certainly don't doubt that.
And I know plenty of cops here in Las Vegas that if they were there, they would have put their lives on the line to protect.
I don't doubt that. I agree with you. But again, I go back to what I said earlier. We have a gun violence problem in this country, and I don't hear from the people that want to get into the weeds with me about what an assault weapon is. I ask them, what are your solutions? So I'm going to ask you the same question.
Sure.
I can name you 5 or 6. I've named you a couple. I would also talk about red flag laws being stricter, for lack of a better term.
I'll tell you, in my personal life, I'm armed most of the time. I'm my family's last line of defense. I am concerned about kind of the shootings that happen in schools. My kids are going to be homeschooled. They're going to have armed security 24/7, right? So, we have armed security at our banks, all politicians, celebrities. I don't see a reason why we can't have armed security for our most precious resources.
A lot
kids.
of schools do have armed security.
Yeah,
you're aware of that, right?
And
a lot of schools do.
Right.
Most schools do, actually. But gun violence is not just in schools, as you know. It's all across the country. It could be in a mall. It could be anywhere. You look at what took place in New Orleans. I just want to know what solutions people have, because here's what frustrates me. A couple things. Number one, and I'm not saying you are this person, but a lot of Republicans don't seem to have any solutions.
You just don't like my solution.
Well, I want to hear you out on your solutions. I haven't heard any yet, but here's what I will say. After a school shooting, Democrats don't go into the halls of Congress wearing AR-15 pins. That's what some George Santos was one of them.
Like our friend George, yeah.
Well, he admitted he was wrong in doing so.
Did he? Okay.
I've had private conversations with him about that. I think that's despicable. And I've never heard a Democrat running for office bragging about their A+ rating from the NRA.
Actually, there have been.
I haven't heard of any. If there are, I would call them out.
The former senator from West Virginia used to brag about it.
Then I would call him out for it if that's true. I'm not aware of that, but I will take your word for it. Then he's wrong.
Right.
Because the NRA is buying politicians. They're buying politicians. And I have a serious problem with that. I have a serious problem with that. When you walk into the halls of Congress wearing an AR-15 pin the day after innocent children are murdered, that is despicable. Can we agree on that? It's a horrible thing to do. It's horrible. It's insensitive to the victims, their families. It's a horrible thing to do. Can we at least agree on that? It's a horrible judgment.
Brian, I believe that objects cannot kill people. It is a individual person who did it. You told me that I can't blame the whole left for what Tyler, what's his name, did to Charlie. So I think it's unfair to blame an inanimate object that cannot function without a person behind it.
So by your standards, everybody could have bombs. You could bring a bomb on an airplane. Well, listen, you're laughing, but you just said I don't blame the object, I blame the person.
Right.
So by your logic, everybody could have bombs, everybody could have machine guns, everybody have grenades. It's totally fine with you, as long as you don't use it in a bad way.
Well, it's like this is like just reducto ad absurdum, right? I mean, you're just going to take it to this level. Like we're not dealing with this crisis of people bringing guns on bombs on. First of all, it's you can't bring a gun on a plane, and most airplane companies.
So you're okay with laws and restrictions? That's exactly what I'm talking about with you. I'm talking about restrictions, and that's a safety thing. Would you agree with me? You're not allowed to bring a gun and bring it through TSA and bring it on a plane. Why? Because that can cause a major issue when you're thousands of feet in the air. That is a restriction. While we have the Second Amendment, which I am okay with, we should have some restrictions. And you talk about the Constitution when we had something called muskets. It's a very different time we are living in today.
Well, okay. I mean, if you want to get into like, did the founding fathers think technology would not advance at all? I mean,
the founding fathers thought it was okay to own people. So I'm not going to listen to everything the founding fathers say, because I think they got a lot of things wrong.